Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys.
Analyst makes a bold prediction about Mike McCarthy's future. This is going to be a massive year in Dallas, Texas. The pressure will be on the shoulders of Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, and the rest of the Cowboys to finally push through to a Super Bowl. However, if they don't, things will go south quite quickly, especially for the head coach in McCarthy. At least, that's how Fox Sports' Craig Carton sees it. I think Mike McCarthy gets fired around Thanksgiving. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be sitting at 3-7. The Mike McCarthy watch is going to start very early, Carton said recently on The Carton Show. Dallas has won 12 games in each of the last 3 seasons. They've won the NFC East twice in that stretch. However, they have just one playoff win to show for it, and that came against a pretty much retired Tom Brady in 2022. The Cowboys desperately need to make an NFC championship run at the very least this year. They haven't done that since the late 90s. In 2024, it might be tough to do so with their schedule. They will have 10 games against teams that made the playoffs in 2023, and that doesn't include ascending teams such as the Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, and Washington Commanders. They will face 5 teams with a winning record in the first 6 weeks of the season. In weeks 8-11, they will face the 49ers, Falcons, Eagles, and Texans. McCarthy and company will need to win when they can. If not, multiple people will be unemployed after the season, and that includes McCarthy. Cowboys could sign former first-round WR in low-risk free agency move. The Dallas Cowboys have been linked to several wide receivers recently, and they could turn to a former first-rounder for help. While Laquon Treadwell has not lived up to his draft billing in his career, he is in his athletic prime and looking for a new home. The Cowboys brought in Zay Jones for a visit recently, but Jones chose to sign with the Arizona Cardinals instead. As they move forward, there aren't a lot of quality options remaining in the market. Treadwell is in that group, as the receiver has struggled to hit the field over the past 2 seasons. But in terms of adding potential reinforcements to the wide receiver group, the Cowboys would struggle to find a cheaper, low-risk option. Treadwell has been playing on the NFL's minimum salary, or close to it, for the past 4 seasons. In fact, his average salary since 2019 has been less than $1 million per track. Considering he is a former first-round talent, it may be worth adding Treadwell just to see what he's got in the tank. Worst-case scenario, the Cowboys can still roll with their current WR group. Laquon Treadwell's NFL journey. While at Ole Miss, Treadwell was an exciting talent. After 2 promising seasons with the Rebels in 2013 and 2014, he exploded for 1,153 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns in 2015, and his draft stock skyrocketed. The Minnesota Vikings came calling at the 23rd overall pick and had high hopes for Treadwell. But his rookie season was a complete flop, as Treadwell made 1 catch for 15 yards in 9 games according to Pro Football Reference. Of course, the Vikings didn't give up on Treadwell after just 1 season, but it didn't get much better for either side, as Treadwell followed up his rookie campaign with a 200-yard campaign in 2017. Over 4 seasons in Minnesota, Treadwell caught 65 passes for 701 yards and 2 touchdowns. They let him loose after 2019, and he initially tried to bounce back with the Atlanta Falcons. While that didn't work, his stint with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 showed what Treadwell can do. In 12 games, Treadwell caught 33 passes for 434 yards and a touchdown. Those aren't mind-blowing numbers, but they're respectable. But Treadwell would leave Jacksonville after that season, and has struggled to get his footing with the Seattle Seahawks and Baltimore Ravens in the 2 seasons since. Cowboys release Martavis Bryant. While Martavis Bryant never made a regular season appearance for Dallas, his release on May 8th means the Cowboys potentially have space for a new veteran WR. Bryant was signed last November as Dallas prepared for their end-of-season push, but he is now on the move again just 6 months later. But while he's leaving DFW, the Cowboys may still see him twice next year. Bryant worked out for the Washington Commanders on May 15th, although they haven't signed him at the time of writing. Bryant has not played in an NFL regular season game since 2018, but worked in the CFL and XFL to attempt a comeback. Just getting back into the NFL has been impressive, but Bryant clearly wants to get back to a regular role with the team. Cowboys reveal plan for unproven Trey Lance entering 2024. The Dallas Cowboys have a plan for Trey Lance entering the 2024 season. The former number 3 overall draft pick was acquired in a notable trade from the San Francisco 49ers just prior to the conclusion of the preseason last year. The Cowboys acquired Lance in exchange for a 4th-round draft pick. However, he spent the entire season as the 3rd-string quarterback behind Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush and didn't see any game action during the 2024 season. However, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer is stressing that Lance will seize tons of reps entering the season, including OTAs, minicamp, and training camp, via Clarence Hill of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. It's going to be all about getting him a ton of reps throughout OTAs, minicamp, and then training camp, says Schottenheimer. You're going to see him getting a ton right leading into the preseason. Trey Lance has yet to see playing time as member of Cowboys. The 24-year-old Lance has seen very little playing time since entering the NFL in 2021 as a top draft pick. Part of that is due to injuries, but part of it is also due to being unable to move up the depth chart. During his 3 seasons in the NFL, Lance has seen action in just 8 games and has started just 4 games. During those appearances, he's gone 2-2 as a starter and has 5 touchdowns against 3 interceptions for an 84.5 passer rating. He also has the ability to run the football, racking up 235 yards and a touchdown during those appearances. The passing numbers aren't bad, but they're not great. It also doesn't help that Lance hasn't appeared in a game since Week 2 of the 2022 season before he suffered a season-ending ankle injury. That marked the only time Lance was considered a starter in the NFL after entering the season first on the depth chart over Jimmy Garoppolo. It also doesn't help that Lance didn't see many reps in practice during the 2023 season as a 3rd-string quarterback. That means by the time the 2024 season rolls around, it will have been nearly 2 full years since Lance, who started just 1 full season at an FCS program such as North Dakota State, has seen substantial reps. The guy's obviously an unbelievable athlete, but we need to get him the reps, Schottenheimer stressed. How do you learn to play the position of quarterback unless you're playing right? Trey Lance considered a question mark entering his 4th season. Schottenheimer, who is also in his 2nd season in Dallas, explains how Lance is a question mark due to the limited playing time and reps he's seen during his career. We know Doc. We know co-op. He is the question mark, Schottenheimer said. There's so much he doesn't know that he's got to figure out. And so that's what's exciting about that. If he can be a really good player because he's wired the right way and the way he works. We just got to give them the opportunity to show us that with the year under his belt and being comfortable. With all 3 quarterbacks on the Cowboys roster entering the final year of their deals, Lance is auditioning not only for a spot on Dallas roster next season, but potentially another NFL team's roster. When factoring in that Prescott could possibly be entering his final year as Cowboys starter, there may be an opening for the starting job next season for Lance. However, he has to be able to prove he can be a viable starter in the NFL by actually seeing time on the field. It looks like Dallas has a game plan to finally give Lance that opportunity entering next season.